So today I am going to talk to you about creating intention. It is so easy to get caught up in life and it feels like it's passing us by. So how do we adjust that? That's what we're going to talk about today, and what that's going to look like. I'm going to teach for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then I will open the floor to questions. Feel free to put questions in the Q&A as we go along. If you have questions about anything that I am covering, ask as we go. And then if you'd like, at the very end, I can bring anybody who wants on for coaching, and we can go through whatever's going on in your world in real time. So I would love to do that. So creating intention, it's happens to me so quickly, and so like like I call it life happening, right? It's like you think you're going to set things up, you think you're going to do all these things. We're in January. It feels like a really hopeful time of the year, right? We've got the whole year ahead of us. We've got these things that we want to accomplish. Maybe it's with our bodies, maybe it's with our finances, maybe it's a business goal or a career goal, maybe it's a relationship goal. And in January, we look forward, we mark that as a society as like a starting point for whatever reason. But it's as good as any. And we mark that, and then we feel hopeful that we're going to accomplish all of these things. And then all of the sudden, we find ourselves writing a Facebook post celebrating someone's birthday, and we're like, how did this happen? A whole year's passed. Maybe it's your birthday, maybe it's a loved one, who knows? But we're always in that like, whoa, it's already another year again. Where did the time go? Just like that. That's what people say. Just like that, it happened. Well, no, a whole year passed. What happened in that year? Were we intentional? Were we present? Or were we busy? Right? We're so busy. Life now is really busy. So how do we counter that? There are two ways. Understanding what's going on in our brains is the first step. I find that part fascinating. And then making a decision of how do we want it to go? What do we want to create? How do we want to feel? So first things first, what's happening in our brains? Our primitive brain, the way we're hardwired, works on what's called a motivational triad. And that means we have three priorities. We seek pleasure, and that means tasty food, cozy shelter, procreation of the race. We avoid pain. Don't die. The primitive brain is just saying, just don't die, right? And then create efficiency. Do whatever it is, make fewer decisions so that you can be scanning the environment so that you're not dying, right? So seek pleasure, avoid pain, create efficiency. Those are the three things that the primitive brain wants to do, wants to focus on, wants to make your priorities, right? So, but what we know is we have evolved. We have an evolved prefrontal cortex that allows us to think and plan and dream and decide and all of those things. And that's where we start our January goals, right? And what we have found is we're not in danger anymore. Obviously, there is still danger in the world, but if you're connected to internet and on Zoom and have a computer available to you, you're not in your daily life worrying that you're going to die, most likely, right? The fear of survival is not heightened. So that primitive triad, motivational triad, isn't as relevant anymore. We're not trying to not die. We've got seeking pleasures easy. Pleasures everywhere. There's all kinds of pleasure, whether it's food, whether it's entertainment, and it's not just available, it's also intense. So we have these refined foods, the sugars that are just like, pow, we go from fruit to intense, like creme brulee, delicious sweetness, amazing stuff, right? I'm not knocking the creme brulee. I love it. But it's way different than what was available to us in the cave, where a piece of fruit tasted unbelievably sweet and we ate what it was when it was in season, because we had to get it in, get the nutrients. Now we can have whatever we want whenever we want it, right? So it's not as relevant. Avoiding pain has gone from, are we breaking a leg as we're fighting a tiger? Are we like going after our prey? Are we hunting and gathering our food? To now we're avoiding uncomfortableness, right? We're pretty safe, so we're pretty sure we're not going to die. Now we're kind of avoiding pain, means avoiding emotional pain most often. Most often we're avoiding not feeling good. We're avoiding the emotions of loneliness or abandonment or fear. Or so the fear has gone from fear of dying to more often fear of society, fear of our tribe, belonging. Are we going to be rejected if we do something out of the ordinary? Are we going to be accepted? What are people going to think? Our fear has changed from survival to acceptance. And that's very different. And creating efficiency, efficiency doesn't mean creating optimal situations. Creating efficiency can just mean you've done it before, you didn't die, do it again. It can be familiarity instead of optimization, right? We think of efficiency, I'm going to get good at doing things well, but our bodies actually just like to do things that don't make us die. That is actually efficiency for the brain. It's not always the best way. It is the most familiar way. So how do we get out of that? What is it we're doing when we're going through life and we're seeking pleasure? We can do that by eating or overeating food. We can do that by seeking alcohol or other forms of sort of stimulants or numbing or whatever it might be. We can seek those sorts of things. We can seek things. My son saved for a year and a half for a Nintendo Switch, and he got it and he was immediately not satisfied. He immediately wanted more, right? So he was seeking this thing that he thought would be amazing, but as soon as it was amazing, then he wanted more amazing, right? As soon as we get that delicious dessert, we want more of it, right? Oh, I could eat 5 of those. I say that. Maybe you don't, but I definitely want more of it when I'm getting it. So how does that translate into our year passing by? Well, when we're just seeking pleasure, but it's not meaningful to us pleasure, when we're not deeply connected to how it's going to affect us, then it just zips by. When we're avoiding pain and we numb it versus going into it and feeling it and figuring out what is the cause, what are the thoughts behind this pain that I'm feeling, then we sort of numb our life in the meantime, right? We numb the pain, but we also numb our experience of life. We get into that efficiency, and all of a sudden our relationships are efficient. Your loved ones become like just furniture in the room, right? It's furniture in your life. It's just zipping by. I do the things that I do, but I'm not intentional in them. And so all of a sudden, I don't even know, like I can eat a meal and not even realize I'm eating it. I can watch a movie and have no idea, like not connect to the person next to me over a joke or a fear or whatever. I cannot even discuss the movie with the person I'm sitting with. Or I can go out to dinner and realize like I'm still on my to-do list and not in the moment. So what do? How do we make that different? How do we change that? And I want to offer to you, it doesn't have to be spend a day in a workshop creating your vision. Is that valuable? Of course it is. But is that necessary to be intentional in your life? I want to offer you, no, it's not. Whatever you do, if you can create a 2-minute habit to get towards it, whether it's starting a workout program we've talked about before, whether it is deepening a relationship, whether it is starting some sort of new program, if you can create a 2-minute habit, you can get closer to it. So what do we do to create intentionality in our day? What's our 2-minute habit? Looking ahead in your day. So step number 1, I'm going to give you 3 ways to kind of connect to your life a little bit deeper, connect to yourself with more intention. Look ahead at your day. What are the things that are happening? What are the appointments? What are the schedule? What's the stuff? What's the stuff that's the life? Right? What are the blocks that you got to show up for? And where are your priorities in those blocks? If your priority is work because you got to pay the bills, amazing. But what is it in your work that's going to give you connection in that day? What is it that's going to challenge you? What is it that's going to excite you? What is it that's going to create you becoming more of you to get it done? So sometimes people are like, oh, I go to my job and, I don't know what I'm doing all day. I'm doing it, but I'm not in it. Right. Well, so what can you create in that day to give you what you're looking for? So part of it is deciding, what are you looking for? So that's step 2. When you're looking at your day and you're sort of saying, where's the me in this day? How do you want to feel? Do you want to go to work and feel proud? Do you want to go to work and feel efficient? Do you want to go to work and feel connected to your coworkers or connected to your job? What is it that you want to create in your day? Maybe it's not your work. Maybe it is in a relationship. So if you're looking for a relationship, oh, I'd like to have a better relationship with my mom. What do I want to feel when I'm with my mom that's going to give me what I'm looking for? We often look to a to-do list to say we've accomplished something, right? The to-do list, well, if I've done it, then I'll feel good. And what that gives power to is the task. The power is in the thing of what I did, my action, that's going to give me the value or the feeling of accomplishment. But really, I can feel accomplishment based on what I'm thinking about it. I can feel accomplishment in my relationship with my mom if I find out something about her day, about how she's feeling in her day. I would feel accomplished if I've connected with her by listening, right? And so I don't have to do anything. I can be present with her to deepen that connection. So what do I want to feel? Do I want to feel joy in that relationship? Do I want to feel understanding in that relationship? Do I want to feel compassion? So you can see whether it's work and its accomplishment or whether it's a relationship and it's of some version of connection, it's what do you want to feel in that? It's not the to-do list. What you feel will create your to-do list. But without the feeling, the year goes by. That's when it hauls buns and you're like, what just happened? Oh, how did I experience this past year? I have no idea because I don't remember what I felt in any of it. And so then the third thing to think about, so number 1 was look ahead at your day. What do you want to create in that day? Number 2 is when you're creating it, what do you want to feel in that creating? And number 3 is how will you know when you get there? What will it look like? How will I know I'm more deeply connected to my mom? Well, what will give me the idea that I did listen to her? What will give me the idea that I did connect with her in some way? How will I know I've gotten there? It's very easy for us to look back and say, I didn't get there. Oh, I didn't get that done. I didn't do that. And we'll kind of beat ourselves up on it. But we don't take the time to really connect to, how will I know that I did do it? What went well in this experience? What is working in this experience? So number one is look ahead. What do you want to create? Number two is, what will you feel when you're creating it? What do you want to feel? How can you connect to that feeling? And number three is, how will you know that you felt it? It seems like such a silly thing to say, but I guarantee you, if you start connecting to that, if you start looking forward to, oh, I did get there, instead of, oh, all the ways I didn't, you'll find that you are connecting to your life in a deeper way. So, though, I hope that you can use those 3 tips. I want to know what questions you have. What's going on in your life right now? Put it in the Q&A or raise your hand, and I'd love to bring you on to talk about whatever you have going on, and see what we can work through together. If this idea of deepening your connection through intention is exciting for you, if you have questions that you want to talk through, I'd love to connect with you through a free consultation. Life coaching is what has given me all of these insights. It's given me so much joy in my life just because I'm noticing my life. I notice that I'm creating my life instead of reacting to what's happening. So I want to share that with you as much as I possibly can. If you've got things that you want to do, then just send me a message, and you can put it right in the Q&A, and let's connect and create a time that we can spend an hour and connect to what you have going on, and you can ask questions, and I can lead you through some of that. So any questions, or anybody who wants coaching today? If not, I value your time, and I will release you back to it. But I'd love to get your insight and see what you have going on as well. Somebody asked, I find that I have so many people that I'm taking care of that I am not finding that time for myself. That's the struggle, right? It's like, I'm taking care of my family. I'm taking care of the people that I work with. I'm taking care of my parents. I'm taking care of my neighbors. Whatever it is, it's all the people, it's all the things, it's all the world around us. And the priorities can quite often be all the things that I've got to do. I got to drive this person to there. I got to pick up this. I got to get the groceries. I got to cook the groceries. I got to do, right? The to-do list gets frenetic. That's when it's like, people say, I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm so busy. I'm doing all these things. How do I do all these things and do the me thing? It's in that 2-minute intentionality. That's when just saying, okay, we could set the intention of, like, every time I go into a new task, I'm going to say, what do I want to get out of this grocery store visit? But how many of us remember the grocery store threshold to say, what do I want? And like, how much do you connect to, like, what do I want to want in the grocery store? Oh, I want my groceries. Bye-bye. Right? I want to know that I'm nourishing my body. Sure. But it's like, I'm so caught up in taking care of people, I'm not taking care of me. How do you want to feel while you're taking care of people? How do you want to feel when you are driving someone to the point A to point B? Do you want to feel like a taxi driver, pipe down? Do you want to feel like, oh, I've got this gift of this bubble that we can talk to each other? Do you want to feel like It's a time where nothing happens. You get to breathe in and out, right? What do you want to feel in the things that you're doing? And in that 2-minute task of what do you want to create? Somebody might think, I don't know what I want to create. I want to create the to-do list done, right? So that's something too. That's also the feeling of efficiency. But remember, when we're talking about the motivational triad, the efficiency of our brain is just not dying. I'm going to guess that you want more out of life. When I'm efficient, I know I'm doing things well so that I can put my attention into feeling way, right? What comes up for you? Did that answer your question? I'd love to know. I'd love to hear more. And they say, yes, that was helpful. Okay. I'm glad that connected. Anybody else have a question? I'd love to see. All right. Well, I would love to work with any of you on a consultation. I'd love to have you come back next week for the webinar. Next Friday, I'd love to have you invite your friends and have them join too. And let's keep growing and deepening our connections. Have a great week.